And Congressman, always appreciate having you on Nashville's Morning News, and glad you made it back from the border okay.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. It was very educational, and I'm eager to share what I discovered.
Well, let's talk a little bit first. Let's set this up by, of course, playing a soundbite that is now living in infamy from Karine Jean-Pierre.
But that's not. It's not like somebody walks over and that's not how.
Exactly what's happening. Thousands of people are walking in a day. Some of them turn themselves over. Some of them are caught. Tens of thousands a week are not. That is what is happening.
Congressman, amazingly enough, you were down at the border as she is making these comments, and everyone knows that people are literally walking across our border. And I think, as I mentioned on the program earlier, that I think it was the condescending chuckle when she said, "Oh, people aren't walking across the border." Of course they are. What did you see?
Well, let me tell you, these guys are not that stupid. The Biden administration is actually facilitating people breaking our laws. They turned off the fiber optic motion sensors. That's what we discovered when we were down there. They turned off the cameras that were put in under, President Trump. They stopped, of course, everybody knows they stopped the migrant protection protocols, which is really the number one deterrent to crossing. I mean, what we were seeing is just massive waves of humanity. And if you look at just one sector of the border, the Yuma sector, which is about 126 miles of border, if you add the number of people that crossed during Trump's entire administration, 4 years, what will cross this year alone is double what crossed in 4 years of the Trump administration in that one sector. And yeah, you go to breaks in the wall and you just see where, thousands, literally thousands are walking across. And what's worse is you go, obviously the cartels are very strategic, Dan, and very tactical. On the strategic level, they're sending massive, the coyotes are intentionally taking massive groups to one section, which causes CBP to relocate people from one section to another. There's one station in the Tucson section, 200 agents are there covering 30, 40 miles of wall. It's down to 7 there because they've shifted them where the cartels are pumping thousands of people to do the processing. And we've got video from farmers with game cameras of guys in camouflage with backpacks and carpet shoes. And literally, I saw these at a drop-off site, just discarded, walking thousands of pounds of fentanyl into the United States. Totally, they can't be stopped because CBP is getting the massive numbers of people. So it's insane. It's intentional. I mean, this is what the Biden administration and Mayorkas are doing on purpose.
Well, and it's stunning too. A lot of folks, of course, talking about fentanyl and everything that entails. I mean, you're talking about China manufacturing the ingredients, sending it over to Mexico. You've got the two big drug cartels, and so you've got them, as you just mentioned, Congressman Mark Green. You've got this massive crush of people, and so while the Border Patrol is dealing with all those people, the fentanyl is coming right over. And you're talking about, 107,000 people every single year being killed by fentanyl, and the president is just allowing this to happen. He finally mentioned fentanyl the other day in a speech in Pennsylvania, but for anybody to think that things are under control on the southern border is just not paying attention. Do you think, and this may be an unfair question, but I just played you the audio of Karine Jean-Pierre where she says people aren't walking across the border. Obviously, everybody knows that that's a lie. Do you think she misspoke, or are they intentionally lying and everybody knows that they're lying?
Absolutely. They are intentionally facilitating these people coming in. When you turn off sensors, ground sensors and cameras, that's purposeful. I mean, that's a purposeful act to facilitate the bad guys coming into the United States. Look at Mayorkas' budget that he briefed to Congress. The 2023 budget increases people who do processing, decreases detention, money going toward detention, which is also a major deterrent, and it actually zeroes the deportations. So everything, they are designing the entire system at DHS to facilitate massive waves of people coming into the U.S. This year alone, 3.3 million people at least. That's apprehensions plus known gotaways will be more than 3.3 million people. 21 states in the United States have populations less than 3.3 million, meaning a moderately sized United States state is entering our country, taking jobs from Americans, taking health care from Americans, occupying, because many of them are criminals, the ones that are bypassing and going through where the line is weak. They've been either previously deported or have criminal records, and that's why they're coming around. They're coming into the United States in droves. I mean, this is intentional.
One of the things is you talk about all this, and you're very passionate. You've seen firsthand what is going on down there, and of course, people say, why? Why would the president do this? Why would the president, continue to allow China and Mexico to poison and effectively help kill 107,000 Americans every single year? And there's, more seats in the House of Representatives. There's this sort of, future, this cultivating of future voters and so forth. I mean, if I asked you the question, Congressman Mark Green, what is the purpose? Why is the Biden administration doing this? What would your one overarching answer be?
They are attempting to facilitate the empowerment of the Democrat Party into perpetuity.
All right. And give that to me in
layman's terms. They're doing this
Tell me
for
what
votes.
You mean. Votes, okay.
They're doing this for votes, Dan. They know that these folks will come over here, have babies. They'll be anchor babies. Those anchor babies will vote, and they believe, and I think this is a mistake on their part, but they believe those individuals are going to vote Democrat. There is the 107,000 fentanyl deaths in America because of the fentanyl pouring across the southern border is collateral damage that is acceptable to the Democrat leadership so that they can get votes. There's no other. I mean, you might find a Democrat or two that thinks that, we have to accept people from all over the world. And by the way, 130 different countries. While I was there, they were actually apprehending Russians who had come into the United States across the southern border. This is all intentional to get people who will come to the U.S. and vote Democrat. And you know this because Mayorkas, when the Cubans were rioting in July of 2021 and were getting into boats to come to Florida, he said not a single Cuban will step foot on American soil, and they did everything they could to block them. Why? Because the Cubans vote Republican.